welcome again to Elektro Vox. We are here at Zero Day Festival. I'm George Clontus, and I'm also joined by Jay Taylor. So, nice to see you guys.
Nice to be here.
Okay, so the reason that I'm speaking to George is because he is on tonight as Technovore, and as some of you are probably aware from the amount I bang on about it, the only album I've ever given 10 out of 10 with the first album he released, The Theseus Paradox. So, apart from my ridiculous butt kissing of the album, has it been met with sort of good reviews elsewhere as well?
Yes, very much so, to the point where I was a bit surprised actually. I mean, I mostly make music that I enjoy making and, put it out there and hope that other people respond to that. And really I was so happy to see the response that I did get. I was taken aback, really, especially with your review.
Yeah.
I really didn't expect that.
And we have Jay singing on a couple of the tracks on
that
album, of course, which is why he's joining tonight on stage. Is that right, Jay?
Yes.
So 4 songs. So 3 of them are ones that I've contributed towards, and one is the other Jay, who's not here.
I had 2 J's on the album. That's right.
It's never enough J's.
Alright, and this might be a humorous question. So, do you prefer to do your music by yourself? Do you prefer to collaborate with artists? And do they give you any difficulties when you do?
Well, that is kind of a difficult question. I mean, I do prefer to do stuff myself. I don't like to rely too much on other people because I have been burned a few times in the past. And the reason I work so well with Jay is because really he's just, a man of his word. If he says he'll do it, it's done.
Yeah, okay. Now, the name of the Theseus Paradox, which pretty much everyone knows, if you don't know what that is, then where have you been? So, is that a reflection on your music career with the sort of ship of Theseus Paradox, or is that more just the emotional journey you've been through of your life?
A bit of both, really. I mean, when I was when I started the project, I kind of had a really clear idea in my mind of what I wanted it to be, what I wanted it to sound like. But at the same time, I thought, well, kind of what expectations would there be, if there would be any, of me, of people who were aware of what I've done before in the past. And so, that kind of idea of taking bits and pieces from different genres, from things I've done before, but trying to keep it fresh and different and, not boring to me to make, it kind of put that in my mind. It kind of reminded me of that whole idea of renewing gradually in increments to the point of, is it the same thing in the end or is it not, philosophically. I mean, maybe it sounds a bit heavy, but I thought it made a very good concept for the album in the end.
No, it does, and I might be reading into it a bit too much there, but I mean, one of the tracks on it is Make Us Whole, which is samples from Dead Space, which, coming out, I can't wait for the new remake of Dead Space, one of my all-time favourite games. So is that sort of concept of, the entity making everyone whole and a new sort of beginning, is that sort of mixing in with the Theseus Paradox here? That's sort of like a sci-fi version of the Theseus Paradox?
A little bit, what's the individual and what's the whole. I mean, one of my favourite video games of all time is System Shock 2. So, I mean, I've got at least 3 tracks that have samples from that. And I thought, well, okay, I've sampled that to death, so now I have to find something else that works in that kind of perspective. Because it is something that really appeals to me, the philosophical aspect of that, the self and identity. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy Philip K. Dick's work a lot too, because that is a major theme in all of his work as well.
Okay. And I mean, you've come all the way from Greece, haven't you? So
I have indeed, yes.
Did you have any problems getting over here?
Yes, I had a few, but I'm here now, so.
I apologise in advance for the state of our country.
Oh, no, it was, you know, I mean,
and
travel's never easy, let's say.
And being from Greece, is Theseus your favourite hero, or did you have sort of like a favourite story other than Theseus?
I do think the whole story of Theseus is the most appealing from an early age. I mean, most people know the Minotaur, you know, in the labyrinth in Knossos, which I was very familiar with because that's really where I grew up, about an hour's drive from there.
Okay.
But his whole story, you know, from his youth into his whole age is really quite interesting. So definitely, yes, one of my favorite mythological figures.
I think we should get Jay with some Minotaur headphones. Sorry, headpiece is your
hairspray is all I need.
Yeah, don't expect me to be in a loincloth though. So. I'm drawing a line right there.
Anything can happen in the next few hours.
Stingray. So, have you ever been to Elektro Vox before?
No, this is my first time.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I lived in the UK for 5 years in Edinburgh, but I didn't ever make it here in that time.
Okay. And I mean, to the both of you, because you've been here before, obviously, Jay. To the both of you, what do venues like Slimelight and Elektro Vox mean to the community, especially as it's the 35th birthday for this festival as well?
I'll let you take that one.
Everybody knows Slimelight, everybody knows this venue. I was just saying to Joseph, it kind of feels like a little bit my second home this year or last couple of years, because most things have been going on here in one way or another, and everybody needs a place to be able to communicate and to be able to kind of watch bands and so on and so forth, and it's kind of being lost everywhere else. So doesn't mean that just because it's here now, it's going to be here in a year's time or 2 years' time or anything else. Kind of, it's one of those typical artist things to be able to say, is that everybody needs to keep on coming to things and supporting it, because otherwise they will go, and that it's not meant to be threatening or anything along those lines. But if we want things to stay, we've got to use them.
Really fight for your right.
Yeah, and again, I know it's a really typical thing that most artists and venues have been saying for the last 2 years, but it's not just for the sake of saying it. It's because actually, if you realise it now, there's loads of places that are gone, or events that just don't run anymore, or events that have had to change their kind of cultural makeup to make them financially viable.
Yeah, so mainstream sort of flow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there anywhere in Greece that sort of got that famous alternative nightclub sort of reputation?
Well, in Athens there are a couple. There's Dark Sun, which has been going for a really long time. I have to apologize because I'm really haven't kept up with what the scene in. I mean, I live on Crete, so I literally live on an island. So I'm not very sure about what's been going on in the last few years. There haven't really been any live events, so to speak. Definitely not as many as there used to be. A few, but not many, unfortunately. That's I guess the peak was like the early 10s. Probably would have been the peak of activity for the local scene, for like the harsh or electro-industrial sound. But there are very many, disproportionately so, I might say, good electronic bands that have come out of Greece and are still coming out now. There's a couple that I've kind of got my eye on that I really think.
Do you want to shout them out?
There's one called Saint, which I think is really great, sort of dark electro, very atmospheric, and I think he's great. There's Phonopticon, which is kind of retro synthwavy. Those two, I think, are really been killing it in the last couple of years.
Nice.
Ready, go!
And was there a particular moment in your history where you thought, this is industrial music, this is who I am, I'm doing this?
I kind of fell into industrial music more than anything. I was actually saying to Jay earlier, I was a huge metalhead in my teens and early 20s. And then I kind of didn't like where metal was going, the sound, you know, in the early 2000s. And that kind of pushed me into looking into other genres, you know, dark, hard genres. So that's really what got me into industrial. If I had to pick an album, let's say, that converted me, that would be Frontline Assembly's Millennium, because it had the, you know, the crossover appeal between metal and electro-industrial.
So take it you're looking forward to seeing Reese Fulber play tonight then?
Definitely. I had my fanboy moment earlier where I, you know, walked into the room and there's, you know, Reese sitting on a chair and like, hey. You know?
As humbly as you could. Right?
Yeah, I was, you know, trying not to get all giddy.
Hey, how about you, Jay? Was there a moment where you were like, this is who I am?
So kind of the same as Jules in terms of I'm still a big metalhead, but I never listened to industrial until I got asked to join Tactical Sect, which is a really weird and random story, and it seems very, very disjointed to say the first time I got into industrial was the band that I was playing in. I think the first time I properly appreciated like EBM and industrial music as a fan rather than something that I had to play was Grendel. Was Soilbleed, I think.
Yeah, I think Grendel was kind of a starting point for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
Great stuff.
You know, he's you know, Jos has done a fantastic job, and he's done the same for a lot of people. But that's where it started for me. I spanked that album quite a lot.
In your teenage years, yeah?
In my teenage years.
That's funny actually, because when I did my army service,
Oh yeah.
I had a little MP3 player at this. I'm really showing my age now. That could hold about 10 albums, and one of them was Soilbleed. So I really know that like back to front, because that's all I could listen to for like months on end.
Nice, famous album.
I had that and Prescription Medicine, the previous full-length album, and that's actually it's going to sound weird, that's the album I used to put on to be able to sleep in the barracks, because it would, you know, drown out all the ambient noise, you know.
Okay, nice. And I mean, I know you've had a bit of a history in the industrial world and music, but is there anything you'd like to achieve with Technovore?
You know, it's funny you should ask that, because I was thinking that kind of this right here, I know it's my first show, but it does kind of feel like it's putting a, you know, exclamation point on everything that's happened so far.
Yeah.
And it's the last one of the goals I had when I started, and that's it fulfilled now. That's the whole, you know.
All done within the space of a year.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's weird how it's weird how it happened, but you know. Oh, there's Simon. It's weird how that happened, but yeah, it kind of feels like, you know, this is kind of the closing a circle now, and you know, on to greater and better things, hopefully.
Yeah, wonderful. Hey, and I know it's kind of hard to live up to another album after you've just had such amazing reviews for this one, but do you have another one covered?
Yes, and I've found a way to circumvent any of that. I'm going to call it sophomoric slump. So, so people know what they're getting right off the bat. No, yes, I do have about 10 to 12 tracks that are pretty much done at the moment.
Nice.
but I'm gonna leave them alone for a while and, you know, go back to them slowly, because it's really, I mean, what's it been, 6 months, 7 months since the Theseus Paradox came out?
To drop another one would be like...
It's a bit early, so I've got time to work on it some more, because that really worked for me with the Theseus Paradox. You know, I kind of, you know, had it ready, and then I had another year of working on it for, you know, various reasons before it was released. So I think that really helped it. So I'm just going to take my time, but yes, there is another album coming.
Sweet. I mean, if you think of new ideas for new songs, you can just do what Jay does and drop one every couple of months.
2 weeks. Spit them out.
I mean, it's probably Daniel Graves is to blame for that, isn't it? One a month kind of release. So
yeah, I think so.
I think he's really had a sort of influence there upon the entire industrial world.
I think Daniel's doing some really smart things at the moment, and we were having the conversation earlier. Is that unfortunately you can kind of get stuck with statistics of the algorithm, but you know it's a nice feeling putting out music and trying to make it digestible for people. I think that's the important thing.
Is this your first Technovore live show?
It is.
Ooh, do you have a pre-performance ritual for it that you've come up with in your head, or are you just going to wing it?
No, I'm just winging it, you know.
The best way?
Yeah.
The best way?
See what happens. No.
Okay. And what would you like the best case scenario for your show to be tonight?
Well, I just, you know, we have fun and everyone else has fun, you know. I mean, part of the reason I do music is just like, well, not part of the reason I do music, but one of the aspects that I really enjoy is that, you know, when people come to me and say, you know, I really like your music, I really feel like I've done something good, I've put something positive out into the world, you know, someone got some enjoyment out of something that I made. So, you know, if that happens tonight, you know, everyone has a good time, that's me happy.
Well, last two questions, and I think you kind of answered the first one quite a bit already, but what would you consider to be the best things about the industrial world, and what are some things you'd like to see change?
Okay, well, I was saying to Jay earlier that really the people are, you know, for the most part really awesome, and I really enjoy all the, you know, interacting with people. I've made some great friends through music, and that is definitely one of the major benefits of me being involved in the scene over the years.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to change, well, just like, I don't know, let's make it bigger, you know, let's get, you know, there's so many talented people that really deserve a lot more success than they have, and, you know, I'd love to see them get that.
Nice, okay. Can you, sorry, I keep getting distracted. I already mentioned it to Reese, but can you pick out your star sign in amongst all of the gothic horror of Slimelights? Nice.
That's me.
Which one's yours, Jay?
I'm a Libra.
Fair enough. Sorry. Right, last question.
Okay.
My ADHD brain. Do you have anything you'd like to say to your fans, George?
Just really, I'm so thankful that people have responded so positively to my music, and you know, most of the reason that I keep doing it is, you know, because I like it, and I like that other people like it. So I'm just, like I said, just really grateful. There's another way for me to say it.
Fair enough. Well, you can catch an interview I had with Jay at Resistance Festival a while ago.
Yes.
So if you want some more interview stuff there. If you've lived under a rock or you haven't listened to my spout of bull, the review for Theseus Paradox is obviously on my website. If you haven't listened to this album, do yourself a fucking favour and go and listen to it, for fuck's sake, and Jay's music as well, alright? Thank you very much for joining me, guys.
Thank you.
Very passionate about music. And thank you for joining us.